Oh, look out now. It's the Bourbon and Banter podcast, the biggest and most honest podcast in all of bourbon. That's right, friends and neighbors. We got everything you need right here to drink curious. So sit back, grab a pour, and check your feelings at the door, because we're here to lay it down for you as only Bourbon and Banter can. Now, look, we know we've been away for a bit, and we've got a lot of explaining to do and a lot of ground to cover, but we're back and better than ever, just in time to celebrate America's birthday with some bourbon, a little barbecue, Boston cream donuts, or pie, or cake. Hell, just give us all of it, and we'll be happier than a blind tasting in a circus tent. Here we go.
All right, Bob, we are back. And you're looking mighty fine, sir. Looking mighty fine.
I thank you. Likewise, sir. Got a case of donuts, case of bourbon, case of barbecue.
Well, I'm just thankful.
Mixed barbecue.
I'm
though.
just glad
you got to have the brisket and the ribs and all that.
I'm just glad you didn't tell me you had a case of the clap.
Now, see, man, why you got to go there? Now we just lost the YouTube rating on the thing, man.
Well, you've been gone for a long time, and I think we got to start off with a mea culpa, an apology of sorts to everyone to let them know what the hell happened, right? Because, as far as they know, we died. Or, Fred Minnick and his posse hunted us down, tried to kick our ass or something because all the shit.
That's true. People could
be
thinking that we were attacked by a circus clown out for revenge or something like that.
Scary little fuckers, those circus clowns. I'm just saying. But let me explain what happened, because I think the good people need to know that we sincerely apologize for the pause, the sabbatical, if you will, on the podcast. It was not our intentions, but folks, here's what happened. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, during the pandemic, we had a little bit of a dust up with the South African authorities, and got a couple cease and desist letters from them. And because of all this, and because of our international reputation of being the biggest bourbon podcast out there, Bob here got sequestered as a key witness for an international trafficking case involving donuts, ice cream, and South African gangsters. Now, those are three things in a sentence I never thought I was going to talk about, but he got pulled away. And while we can't really talk about the case, he's back. He's bigger, badder than ever. And Bob, you don't look too worse for wear for being,
I'm definitely bigger than ever. I don't know about badder. I'm bigger than ever. It's that the one thing, when you're sequestered like that, they're going to give you, at least they're going to give you some halfway decent food, whatever you're wanting, So I've got a few accounts at a couple various restaurants around the country, and a lot of pizza, a lot of pasta, a lot of donuts and those things. But I'm definitely bigger than ever. But we're back and we're ready to go.
That's right. Well, we're going to work off some calories on today's podcast. We got a lot of shit to get through. And as always, folks, we really appreciate you tuning in, and we wanted to get this in the can and up for you to enjoy over the holiday weekend, where hopefully you'll have in some of that Boston cream pie, donuts, cake, and barbecue and bourbon, and doing it upright. But with that said, let's give you a couple quick updates that's happening around the Bourbon and Banter HQ. And
now hold on, Pop.
All right,
I must interrupt our fearless leader, because what I think is very important, when we talk about all of these various food things, and when you're going into a holiday weekend like this, yes, folks know what we like in terms of bourbon, but Pops, barbecue, what is your preferred? If you use a sauce, what is your preferred barbecue sauce? Not necessarily talking name brand, but style.
Well, I like sauce on the side, so I can control the flow, if you will. And I like to take a slightly sweet and mix it with a spicy red. And I mix those two together, so it's a little bit more heat than sweet. That works really well for me.
Well, I'm glad. You can have all that shit, because mine is a Carolina mustard sauce.
Well, it has its place, but...
in my refrigerator. It's actually got a place right here. There's about 10 pounds of it right here.
Now, see, I'll put that on a nice pulled pork sandwich, put some coleslaw on top of it. That'll work.
Wait a minute. Hold on. See, now here we go. The coleslaw is not designed to be on the sandwich.
Oh, see, that's
not supposed to be there.
That's where you're wrong.
No.
Yes.
Now, is it creamy coleslaw or vinegar based?
Oh, vinegar based.
Okay, well, then that maybe I could. All right. Anyway, getting back to your regularly scheduled program is these. There's nothing like having two fat guys walk down a barbecue trail, but Anyway, I wanted.
Some people say
to
squirrel and lose attention. We say food and we lose attention.
That's right.
I don't know, Bob. I got to say, those South African fuckers probably glad you're gone, man.
I think so. I think so.
Well, they get donuts for everybody else. Shit. All right. Well, while we were gone, we took up a little, honeydew list, if you will, and cleaned up around the headquarters, if you will. And that first thing we did was we redesigned the website. So Bourbon and Banter has been running out there for 12 years now on the good old tried and true WordPress platform for you geeks out there that know what I'm talking about. And it worked really well. But hey, we're in a modern age. The internet's changing. There's a lot of new technology. So we took a couple months and revamped the website, put it onto a new publishing platform that we're really digging, and cleaned up the look and feel of it. It's a little simpler, much faster to load, better mobile experience. We hope everybody's checking it out and digging what we're doing there. And as part of that, we also redesigned our community membership levels. If everybody remember, we had the Drink Curious community. Well, as part of this redesign, we're folding that back under Bourbon and Banter. So it's the Bourbon and Banter community. And we simplified the tiers. And there is a fantastic free tier. And if you go to the website, bourbonbanter.com, and register, even at the free level, we're going to send you an invite to join our Facebook community, which we also launched. Now, this is only for people who have registered on the site. You can come in and hang out with us, have some great conversations, ask all the questions you want in the world, and we are banning the crotch shots, the knife shots, the watch shots, all that shit. No way. This is serious for people who want to talk about bourbon, people who want to drink curious, and we really hope that you'll take a minute, sign up, and join our in. And of course, if you want to get a little bit more involved or support our efforts, because somebody's got to help us pay for these donuts, you can sign up at a paid level, get a little bit more access, a few more perks, and you can also get the super exclusive invite to join the Inner Sanctum and the Bourbon and Banter editorial team Slack channel, where you can come in and see all the political incorrect shit that goes behind our publishing empire. That can be yours as well. And once again, love to have you there as well if you choose to do so. Just visit bourbonbanter.com, check out what we're going on, and let us know what you think of the new design.
I'm sorry I got distracted. You said honeydew back there a little bit. I just think melon.
Put the melon down. Put the melon down. Stay away. No one's going to get hurt. That's for sure. The other thing I want to point out is we still have some single barrels left. So if anybody's interested in that, we did a post recently about that. And our retail partner, Ace Spirits in Minnesota, has a great deal they're doing now where you get $20 flat rate shipping across the country for up to 12 bottles. So we know that shipping costs can often be a barrier to getting stuff sent out. Well, Luke and the folks at Ace Spirits are going to hook you guys up well. $20 flat shipping up to 12 bottles, whether it's our single barrels or anything else that they sell and can deliver to where you're at. So check that out as well, and you're going to be pretty happy about that. And the last
that
thing,
stuff gets out there fast, man.
Oh, yeah, man. And
it gets to you fast and professionally, and there is no problem, man.
And, there's plenty of awards out there for bourbon and whiskey and spirits. But you know what? Someone needs to do an award for the best packer, because Luke and his team at Ace Spirits, they are packing gods. I mean, their shit shows up with like tape corners so neat they could work in the military. And these are the things we geek out about between bites of donuts. Just letting you folks know.
Packing tape hospital corners.
That's right.
There you go.
It's important. And the
Bravo.
last alert is we are coming up on the unofficial 12th anniversary of Bourbon and Banter on July 13th. So just a couple of weeks away. We launched the company officially and the website on the February 21st in 2012, but Bourbon and Banter actually launched as a Facebook page back in July of 2011. So just another milestone out there as well, especially important because we missed our 3-year anniversary of the podcast because because you got deported down to South Africa.
Well, man, I'm sorry about that, but hey, we're 3 years old. We're older than 75% of the craft whiskey out there on the market.
and we are much better.
That's right. We're much better. We have a better mouthfeel. I don't know.
See? God,
I don't know about the nose.
Damn it, Bob.
I bet the nose might be a little pungent on some of us. But,
God damn it, Bob. We said we weren't going to talk about your mouthfeel. Ever.
You got to take it there, man.
No, you teed it up. All right? You teed it up. That's all I'm going to say. See, everyone's missed us. I can tell. The phones are lighting up now. We're not even live.
Phones are lighting up now. You can call.
That's actually my wife out in the hall going, oh, my God.
Jesus, I thought
divorce
this was over
can't
with.
Come here soon enough. Jesus.
They're back doing this ridiculous shit again.
Yeah, exactly right. Sorry, honey. Anyway, let's mosey on over to some current whiskey headlines. What do you say, Bob?
There we go. Time for the whiskey news.
All right, so file this one under. You still aren't going to be picked. Apparently, Buffalo Trace has announced the date of their next single barrel select drawing. That's going to be held on July 26th and live streamed from the Sazerac House in New Orleans. Now, once again, you have to have a single barrel select account to participate. So visit the SBS website. Just Google that for Buffalo Trace Single Barrel Select. Find their website, sign up, get into the drawing. And I have no problem. I want 1,000 people sign up because you know what? Technically, it's not going to change my odds because I'm pretty sure anyone associated with Bourbon and Banter's editorial team is on a hit list there, and we're never going to win anything.
Yeah, the SBS website does not stand for Single Barrel Select. It stands for same old bullshit from Sazerac. That's what that stands for.
Well, there you go. Well, in other news, heavy drinkers apparently really can't handle their liquor. That's right. Your research dollars have gone to good use. And a study was recently done that trying to challenge the perception that experienced drinkers have better tolerance. You know, like quote unquote, two cowboys in a bar having a drinking contest.
Are there still cowboys?
They're still cowboys, right?
I mean, besides those, losers down in Dallas. I mean, the fools attempting to, there's an old George Wallace joke. Somebody comes on the radio, it says, "Would the woman who left her 10 children at the stadium please come by and pick them up? They're beating the Cowboys 17-0.
Yes, other than those Cowboys. Absolutely. There are Cowboys out there, apparently, and they're still in the bars drinking, trying to outdo one each other. It's called the Yellowstone TV show.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, all right. But apparently the study has shown that just because they look like they may tolerate better, they don't. And I kind of look at this and say, why does this matter? Why am I even telling you about it? But I thought you should need to know where your tax money is going.
Speaking about Yellowstone, if anybody out there in the listening audience knows the actress who plays Beth Dutton, that'd be a great person to have on as a guest here. I think her unique way of expressing herself would fit right in with what we're doing.
Oh, absolutely. And we can get her donuts too.
There you go.
Because she's British. You're aware of that, right?
Nope, not aware of that at all.
Oh, yeah, she's British. So it takes it even up a whole nother notch.
You didn't know I was British, did you?
No, I didn't. Well,
I'm not.
The teeth kind of gave it away. For those not seeing the visual, Bob was right midstream taking a drink out of a water bottle, and it almost launched across the room. And the fact that there's a stuffed Cookie Monster over his left shoulder laughing, it's even a better sight here.
That's right. Cookie Monster's down there. You can't see him, but Ernie's below him there too. So
I don't want to know what Ernie's doing below the screen. Okay, just gonna leave it at that.
Jesus, are we trying to get?
Speaking of Bob's favorite topic of plush animals, apparently Jack Daniels hates puppies. Jack Daniels finally won its epic trademark tussle with the toy maker VIP Products. Apparently, they didn't like the parody defense that this toy maker had, which featured the tagline, "Bad Spaniels was the old number 2 on your Tennessee carpet." Because, apparently a dog toy is going to erode the reputation of Jack Daniels. I personally think they do that just fine themselves, but, that's my opinion.
They do. I mean, people are aware of what I think of Jack Daniels with their
except for the barrel strength,
offerings. Single barrel stuff. Well, that's what I'm talking about with the barrel strength offerings. My opinion of Jack Daniels is very high in those regards, but I copyright infringement and all that kind of shit, man. People spend a lot of money and developed over a lot of years for that. And no one is going to go against dogs, but you really couldn't be more original than putting that out there,
I don't know. The old number 2 on your Tennessee carpet.
Weller's Waggers or some shit like that. You could do that.
There you go. Absolutely. All right, let's put up a t-shirt and get another cease and desist order from Buffalo Trace. That'll be fantastic. We'll
just see how long it takes them to do it.
That's right.
We can print off a couple hundred of them before they.
There you go. On a more positive note, our friends over at Four Roses finally listened after many, many years. And I felt like all bourbon drinkers were putting notes on the wailing wall, but nobody was listening, right? No one was responding to the request. But Four Roses, along with a totally new brand refresh and new website, announced that they are finally going to release a gift pack that includes all 10 of their recipes in one package. It's going to have 10 50 milliliter bottles Each one is going to represent a different recipe bottled at 104 proof. And this is going to be available. It is a limited edition kit, of course, because just about everything is limited edition these days, with a suggested retail price of $129.99. It's going to be available at the gift centers in Lawrenceburg and Cox's Creek. And just for clarification, in case you don't know how to use your GPS, Cox's Creek is not actually it is actually a creek, but the creek is not the Cox's Creek Visitor Center. Just going to call that out there. If you know why I'm calling that out. But it'll be available there and at select retailers in Georgia, Illinois, Kentucky, and California starting in mid-July. Now, members of the Four Roses Mellow Moments Club had an opportunity to sign up and win the right to purchase this. They announced the winners yesterday, I think it was. I did not win anything. I don't know anybody who won anything. So I don't know if I'll ever get my hands on one of these. But if you do, it's a little pricey in terms of just buying it. But Bob, as you and I were discussing, if you went out to a bar and bought a 2-ounce pour of all these recipes, you'd spend a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to pay $20, $25, maybe even more for this. And with the pricing of the single barrels going up significantly, you were saying that it's going to be about 110 retail. If people have always wanted to have the opportunity to try all 10 recipes. And when have you ever had the opportunity to try them all at the same time or, within succession? And, so it is, I mean, we rail on stuff that we think is completely overpriced. And yeah, this is high, but the experience and what it is, now I'm not going to buy it, but for folks who are wanting to go out there as opposed to going and spending $130 on some ridiculous celebrity bullshit bourbon or something that was distilled by a blender or won an award for having a handkerchief wrapped around the fucking top of it or some bullshit. You for $130, you're getting all 10 recipes at 104 proof.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, no, I mean I have tasted all 10 because somebody did the work, but they were all cast strength, so they were all different proofs. So this is really nice because they're all a consistent proofs, which will give you a better opportunity to taste how different they are from each other, right? Sort of a normalized set. And I mean, once again, I hate spending a lot of money or anything, but this is the thing that if I had the chance, I think because when you go to the store, I think you may be limited to 2 purchases. So I fully suggest if you've got the money, buy 2. Buy one that you'll actually open up with a friend and sample through it, and then hold on to the other one because we don't know how long they're going to be doing this for. And I think it'd be a nice little collector's items to keep if it's within your budget. And even if you buy 2 at $260, that's a hell of a lot better as, just like Bob said, chasing down some of these celebrity whiskeys, which typically are going to let you down. They obviously are not friends with Rick Astley. So keep that in mind. Check it out if you can get your hands on it. And if you do, let us know what the experience is like trying them all together. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Right now, if it weren't for copyright, is where I'd love to Rickroll the episode.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. We'll get him on this
Never
show
gonna
and
give
have him sing
you
it. We'll get him on and get him to sing a little line, and then we got our stuff set.
Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and hurt you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Bennett. All right. Well, let's talk about Darwin at work. So this story caught me off guard the other day. I was reading it. And apparently a Chinese social media influencer died less than 12 hours after consuming, get ready for this, consuming 7 bottles of baijiu, which is known as Chinese vodka, while during a live stream on Douyin, which is China's version of TikTok. Okay, so let's break that down for a second. Somebody live streamed this, and everybody thought it was a good idea to consume 7 bottles of basically vodka. What the fuck?
Well, China's version of TikTok. Isn't TikTok owned by the Chinese?
They don't trust it.
They don't trust it. Yeah, well, you drink Chinese vodka on their version of TikTok as reported by CNN. So all kinds of shit happening there. But, I mean, 7 bottles of anything. And what is the difference between Chinese vodka and other vodkas? Is there something? Are you required to drink the whole bottle if you open it?
No. Culturally, there's no difference in that. It's an alcohol. It's going to be typically between I think 35 and 60% alcohol by volume, and they have different types of fermentation to create this. So it's a little bit different than standard vodka, but that's probably the closest thing that us Westerners understand. But they typically will use things like sorghum and some other grains, especially some rice or things of that nature. So a little bit different source ingredients, but at the end of the day, it's a clear, colorless, odorless liquor, just like vodka.
Okay. Well, so it's not like, doesn't like, make you sterile after you have 2 children or anything like that.
No, they have other methods for doing that. Yeah, no, not to bite you, but apparently now it's 7 bottles is now the killer quantity. So everyone's going to have to just back off a little bit when they're doing their live streams
just stick with 6.
Stick with 6. Absolutely. That's a much safer level. So there you go. Darwin continues to work, and people are doing crazy shit coming out of COVID. That's all I got to say. All right, let's talk about a couple new releases as well. There's keeps rolling at us. There's needs to be no shortage of this. So a couple to check out. Heaven's Door, right? Bob Dylan's brand is announced a 2023 Decade Series release of a 10-plus year aged whiskey. All right, so on the surface, okay, 10-plus years, all right, checking out what's going to do it. Well, it turns out that it's a rye whiskey with, this is a shocker, Bob, get ready for this, a mash bill of 95% rye and 5% malted barley.
Holy shit. Where'd they find that at?
And it's delivering bold and spicy flavors balanced by delicate notes of vanilla and caramel from the barrel. It can be yours for only $99.99.
Well, I'm actually surprised at that price tag, because I thought it was going to be 3 times that.
Well, I think enough people know that 95.5 rye, especially at 10 years old, is going to be MGP rye whiskey, right? And so it's a 10-year-old version of Bullet Rye. So I think they probably knew there's enough education out there to call them out if it was priced any higher than that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they could have put some, fancy Dylan-esque thing to it and then charged $500, like whatever that fucking thing he put the book with. So
yeah, well, he can only make so many gates. He's got to kind of meter that out a little bit.
Yeah.
So
and how much he sell his catalog for? I mean, so it's not like he needs any more.
No shit, right? I'm not even sure he knows this is happening. The whiskey stuff. I'm not even sure if he's involved.
He doesn't know he's performing usually. So I mean,
well, there you go. When he complains, no one understands. Well, moving on, something a little bit more interesting and legit.
Hey, watch it.
Thank you for that. Our friends at Frey Ranch have announced a new farm strength uncut bourbon at 124.3 proof and aged for an average of 5 years. Frey Ranch farm strength uncut bourbon uses the same mash bill as their flagship 4-grain straight bourbon. So that's going to be 66.6% dent corn, 10% winter wheat, 11.4% winter rye, and 12% 2-row barley. Available in California and Nevada at the tasting room and online at their website. It's going to go for a retail of $79.99.
What is farm strength bourbon?
Have you ever worked a farm, Bob?
Have I ever worked? Look at me. Do I look like I fucking worked a farm?
No, you were young once.
Yeah, and I stayed the fuck away from that shit. My family did that generations before me, but no. No, if I'm going to a farm, there better be some ice cream there.
Like dairy farms, prairie farms,
or some cheese. You
you work at prairie farms every day, right? In the refrigerated section. I see where you're going with this.
Prairie farms is disappointing.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, folks.
We were all
who are listening, who are fans of that. At least their ice cream is disappointing.
There you go. Well, no, farm strength is merely their clever way of saying cast strength, Bob. Yeah. But I think you knew that.
Yeah, but I just had to ask the question: farm strength, does it sell better? I mean, when I think of farms,
it smells like
think
sweat.
Of them now.
Is that better?
It's good. I can think of them now because I like their stuff. Their stuff is good. They're good folks, as opposed to thinking of that fucking farm in Virginia with all the bullshit going on there that puts out another rye whiskey.
I think $80, still a little steep for a 5-year-old, even if it's cast strength, but it's staying away from the $100 level. So I'll let it pass for all the reasons
not for a craft, man. Everything's going up.
And did you know that this apparently is the summer of bourbon?
Is it now?
That is.
Who decided that?
According to Lost Lantern, they've declared 2023 to be the summer of bourbon, which is good news. because now we don't have to worry about it for next year because this is the summer of bourbon. It's taken care of. No longer do we have to worry about it.
Who the fuck is Lost Lantern?
So Lost Lantern is a company that specializes in sourcing single barrels and special unique blends from distilleries. So think of them as an independent bottler, kind of taking a page from the Scotch industry where they'll go out and pull barrels from different distilleries, release them as single barrels or unique blends unavailable anywhere else. And so basically what they're doing is they're going to release 8 whiskeys this summer, all across 3 of its product lines. So this is going to be blended, which are blends of whiskeys from multiple distilleries. Their single distillery series, which is blends of multiple casks from a single distillery. And then their single cask series, which is whiskeys from a single barrel from a single distillery. So beginning in July, they're going to start releasing these on their website and on sealbox.com and available in a few different states there. We've got a little post about it up on the website at bourbonbanter.com if you want to get more information. But this is an opportunity to get some access to some of the products that you may have had in a different form and see their spin and their take on it as well. So if you're into the kind of things, go ahead and dive into that summer of bourbon and let us know what you think.
Because the summer of bourbon happens in California, New York, Kentucky, and Alberta, Canada. Because why the fuck not?
That's right. You know, and apparently the forecast for the summer bourbon calls for smoke.
Yeah, so
because it hit St. Louis today, man. Did you see that outside?
Yeah, it did. Naturally, you can naturally go out and get your cocktails smoking. You ain't got to worry about anything.
That's right. That's right.
You know, do they have their own proprietary brute trash can that they mix everything in it?
No. That's copyrighted by other people now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just had to ask the question.
All right. Well, Heaven Hill has gotten into a new release. They've launched a Square 6 Wheated Bourbon. Now, Square 6 is part of the product lines that come out of the Evan Williams Bourbon experience. And this is, in fact, the third Square 6 product produced exclusively at the artisanal distillery located in downtown Louisville. This is a blend of 2 different wheated bourbon mash bills. So the first one is 74% corn, 16% wheat, and 10% malted barley. And the second one is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. And this is going to be bottled at 105 proof. So if you're in the Louisville area and you happen to get down there and pick one up, you can do so for $89.99. A little pricey, but once again, we're seeing a trend and it's unavoidable.
Yeah. I was looking for, did I miss age?
No, because I didn't say it, and I'm looking at my notes here, and I don't have it in my notes, so shame on me. But I guarantee it's not super old.
They probably didn't provide it.
It's probably not super old. Brush Creek Distillery, who I'd be perfectly honest with you guys at Brush Creek. I get the press release, never heard of these guys before, but they're unveiling a Heroes Edition straight bourbon, and it is sourced, but it is a blend of crimson red, blue, and white corn bourbon, born and matured in Indiana, and then further rested at the distillery's Saratoga location along Wyoming's majestic elevated western frontier. So another distillery in Wyoming. They are making their own stuff, but this is a source product. And when I saw Indiana, I immediately thought MGP, but the mention of crimson, red, and blue and white corn, I didn't have time to look into it. So that's kind of new and different for me. So if anybody has any information about that, definitely send it our way.
Yeah, I've never heard of MGP doing anything with those heirloom corns, but
right. So, and then I think the last one we're going to spring on everyone here is that Rare Hair Spirits, which is the spirits division of Playboy Enterprises, is releasing a 30-year-old Canadian whiskey. This is going to be called Lucky Bastard, and they're offering 2,500 limited edition bottles, finished in Pinot de Charentes barrels, and I butchered that, but it's a regional French aperitif, making waves in the high-end cocktail scene. So I'm sure Aaron will come in later and let us know what that's all about. But it's now available online for pre-sale for the lovely low price of $599.
You know, I'd love to see some sales figures on this shit and see who's buying this, if anybody's buying this stuff. You know, fuck.
Well, their last release apparently sold, and that was priced. I don't remember it was that high. And we reviewed that. Matt
it was a
did
ridiculous price. I do remember that.
And it was okay, but I think that had a blend of like Dickel in it and some other stuff. It was nothing to write home about. It was fine, but nothing to write home about whatsoever. So I believe I'm going to be getting a sample of this sent to me, so this should be really fun to kind of review it. Because
30-year-old blended Canadian whiskey.
Right. And you know me, I read these things and I always have questions. So I sent him a note back today. If you look at the notes I posted, Bob, you'll see that Canadian whiskey is spelt with an E. And that's not a typo on my side. That's the release. And actually I looked at the bottle and that's how they spell it. Now, typically Canadian whiskey drops the E. They use the Scotch spelling. So I actually wrote them and asked them what that was all about and if there's a story behind that. So we're going to see if they actually have a legitimate reason or if somebody just screwed up because, Playboy, seems to know a lot about whiskey.
I'm betting the latter.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to affect change, but we'll see what happens. So, hey, if you got $600 burning a hole in your pocket, your choice. You can either buy one of these bottles or Bob and I will do a 1-hour Zoom with you to talk about bourbon and bullshit, and we'll split the money and use it for donuts and cream pie.
Yeah, or you can buy a couple bottles of our single barrels from
That's true.
Ace Spirits and some donuts and still give us some money and get all that done for less than $600.
That's right. Look at us providing better financial outputs for everyone.
That's right. You didn't know that we were financial advisors as well, folks. You've got money. We've got a better way to spend it than you do. So just call us.
Or drop us an email at podcast@bourbonbanter.com.
That's right.
That's right. All right, Bob. So that's what I got for today. What did you bring to the party?
Well, so being out this long, our FUX team, the forensic undercover knowledge seekers of Bourbon and Banter have been scouring the area. And speaking of scouring the area, unearthing something. Now, it's been aged at sea. It's been aged in a cranberry bog and in a rick house, but nothing could prepare us for the newest venture out of our friends at Jefferson, casket strength bourbon.
Casket
Strength bourbon. That's right. The new limited edition expression is aged for a minimum of 4 years in brand new charred oak caskets that are buried 6 feet underground behind the Kentucky Artisanal Distillery, their distillery in Crestwood, Kentucky. The caskets, though, are built in Mobile, Alabama by Bearer's Woodworking, whose founder, Paul Bearer, was a big bourbon fan, always wanted to find a partner to work with aging whiskey in his handmade coffins. Now, some people are probably going to remember that name, Paul Bearer, from his years with the World Wrestling Federation and various other wrestling promotions. He got his start, though, in mortuary science and developed a side business when things were slower in wrestling. So after his passing in 2013, his cousin Cross, yes, Cross Bearer, took up the cross to make the bourbon a reality. So Jefferson's success with the ocean expression piqued their interest in other organic, natural earth elements and their effects on the whiskey. So Trey Zoller and Bearer shared a mutual friend, and after hearing about the unique idea, Zoller was in for Jefferson's to try this. So the bourbon was initially buried apparently in 2018 with the intent on aging it only 3 years, as old as we are. But the earth had not left enough of a footprint on the whiskey in the casket yet. So an additional year of aging was added. Word is that the expression yields a very earthy, we'll figure that out, leathery nose with a bold palate that evokes ash and chocolate, finishes long and woody, which apparently is quite coincidental because Woody was Bearer's partner in the cask making business prior to his death.
Wait, are you fucking with me, Woody?
No, Woody. His last name was Woodpecker. Was Woody? No, he was the guy that fit all the special wooden nails pecked right into the rim of the casket to hold it all together. It's Woody Woodpecker. I think there was a cartoon about this. That they tried to take his name, but anyway, so Woody was his partner, and they're targeting a release. Jefferson's is targeting a release of October 2023, just in time for Halloween. They have yet to figure out a name on the expression. But they're putting out a poll to, everyone to provide suggestions for the name. If you go on to their Facebook or their social media pages, you go to Jefferson's Bourbon, make sure to, tweet them or whatever the hell. And, I guess they're looking at it as Jefferson's charred casket bourbon. That's what.
No, it makes sense, I guess.
They're looking at. But I don't know. That kind of just seems. It seems like there'd be a lot better ideas, Pops.
All right, so let's brainstorm a few here, right? What could be some? Let's kind of just riff on some stuff. So think Halloween, right? I mean, think horror movies. So, buried alive bourbon.
Buried. There you go. That could be one.
Croaked cask strength. Croaked dead, right?
Croaked cask bourbon. Right. There you go.
Okay.
Maybe like casket and corn.
I like the alliteration.
So
you know how they talk about food and they say farm to table, and with whiskey they say grain to glass. So what about grain to grave?
There you go, grain to grave.
That'll work, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's and they char the inside of the casket. Just like they do in a crematorium. Maybe that's it. Crematory yum.
Oh fuck.
Crematory yum, Jefferson.
Oh, that just makes me want to buy some. You know what?
You want to do something.
You know what's funny about this, Bob, is so when I do my bourbon tastings for clients, I always talk about the requirement that bourbon has to be aged in a brand new charred oak container, and I say you probably expected me to say barrel, right? Because that's what everybody envisions. I said, but the law actually doesn't dictate a barrel. It can be anything that's a brand new charred oak container. But I always add in, I said, I'd never seen anybody use anything but a barrel. But actually, and I know you didn't know this before you shared the story with me. About 8 months ago, I was up in Toledo at Toledo Spirits, a small craft distillery place. And they actually hired a Jewish casket maker. And he made a mini casket and charred it, and they put bourbon in it, and they aged it. And it was called casket aged bourbon. So someone's actually done this before to see. So now to see a national brand, a larger brand, do it as well. Just once again, you never say never, right? You're always going to see something different. And I have to say, assuming that it's going to be a success, because everybody likes a marketing story, I think a good spinoff of this would be to then next season do it and actually bury the caskets in the cranberry bogs from the Jefferson's Ocean Spray. And it's like a casket finished, cranberry finish.
Well, so now if you can get this with like the pumpkin patch from Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Just, build up the real terroir. Oh, I don't even have these to be casket. Let's just start burying barrels in pumpkin fields and cranberry bogs.
Idea. Cranberry bogs, build them in, you could build them in the back where they keep all the donut yeast,
Yeah. What if you plant a whole bunch of them in a field and then you grow marijuana on top of them?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, somebody's going to take that idea from us. Trademark for that idea. All right. So, Bourbon and Banter's marijuana-infused bourbon, trademark.
All right. Well, I have to tell you, I was given a sample several weeks ago when I was at an event, and someone said, hey, try this. Tell me what you think it was. And I tasted it. I mean, this tastes vaguely familiar, but weird. And it was actually cannabis, distilled cannabis. I don't know if it would be called whiskey, but it was distilled cannabis. And it was weird, man. Very, very weird.
Mm-hmm. I'll take your word on it.
Yeah. Not something that I would purposely go out and get again. So, but once again, there's something for everyone. So Jefferson's continuing their innovation. This ought to be something to say. It's going to be hot on Halloween, man. They're going to love it. People are going to dig that. All right. Well, guys, let us know. Aged. Let us know in the comments or drop us a line at podcast@bourbonbanter.com and tell us what you think it should be named. And, we'll put together a little care package and send it to the fine folks at Jefferson's, because when we broke the news of their Ocean Spray bourbon, man, their phones lit up and, they got in and helped promote it with us. So if you like this idea and excited about it, you send them a note, let them know, give them a phone call. Ask them when it's going to be available.
That Ocean Spray thing was so successful. I don't know anybody who ever even saw a bottle that went so fast.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for Erin, she got to review it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's true. But, we have connections, Yep. So there you guys, folks. That's another great breaking story you're going to get nowhere else but the world's biggest bourbon podcast, Bourbon and Banter. Bob, let's slightly change the dial here, and I'm going to do something which, I'm a big enough man to do this, and we're going to talk about celebrity whiskey for a second, but not in the way that people are used to us talking about celebrity whiskey. So a little bit set up. A couple of weeks ago, I saw the press release that Eric Church was releasing a new whiskey called Whiskey Gypsy. And I got the press release, went to the website. As you would imagine, it's super high polished, full of marketing fluff and bullshit and things that were confusing. And saying that this new whiskey was coming out, and it was going to be $200. So, of course, in our weekly bourbon roundup, I wrote about it being a bunch of bullshit and whatnot. But I did call out and said, is the whiskey any good? And I said, I don't know. I hope it is. But the rest of it, the marketing, everything about it screams bullshit. And the price definitely screamed bullshit. So I reached out, asked them for a sample, and they were kind enough to send one to me. And I received it the other day. And by the time this is live, I will have posted a review about this whiskey. And Bob, I have to tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. It is a fantastic whiskey. Now, it's not a bourbon. This is a blend of 7 and 8-year-old bourbons, 20-year-old rye, and a 4-year-old single malt for a twist, right? You don't see that every day. It's finished, bottled, and blended by Whiskey Gypsy in Tennessee, and the whiskeys used in the product are sourced from Indiana, presumably MGP, as well as Canada. It's 115 proof, and those 3 whiskeys are blended in a very set ratio. And like I said, it's $200. And this whiskey tastes like nothing else that I've had the opportunity to taste. The nose is light. It's not super bourbon forward. There's a lot going on with that. And there's a very unique tangy fruit note in there. Almost like you're eating a sweet tart with that tangy end of it. And when you go to taste it on the palate, so I'm going to take another sip right now. Amazing flavors, very balanced. A lot of different directions it's going, but it works together. And once again, it kind of fades into that tangy fruit flavor, which is so hard to describe. And I've checked out a lot of other people's reviews of this, and they've all kind of come to the same conclusion that this is really exciting because this shows the potential of American blended whiskey, which I have long been saying is the future of this. Much like in Scotland, where people are taking different barrels from different distilleries, blending them to create something that's greater than the sum of the parts. And a lot of people have been trying that, and I haven't really been impressed. This is the first one that's really blown me away. And unfortunately, it's very frustrating and sad for me because I like the whiskey. I'm shocked, but I'm big enough to admit that I really like the whiskey. But then we go back to the fact that it's got all this marketing puffery, okay, and all this money thrown behind it, and then a price tag of $200. And it just kills me because it puts it so far out of reach of the common man, which quite frankly, when you think about Eric Church and his music and how he, puts himself out there, if he's for the common man, he's pricing this for the 1%, which is fine. They deserve to be able to buy stuff, but this is not a product that most people are ever going to get their hands on for either availability reasons or they can't afford it. But I wanted to come and share people my perspective that there are some really interesting things going, and this one bucks the trend in terms of the quality of the product for celebrity whiskey. But then it falls into the trap, and at the end of the day, money always wins.
Well, it's unfortunate it's $200. I mean, because you're right, the audience that he's going to be shooting for, that is his audience, there's not a lot of them going out there, I would imagine, and spending $200 on a bottle of whiskey.
I hope not.
But who the hell knows how expensive the damn concert ticket is anymore?
That's a good point.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the blend. It's a 7 and 8-year-old MGP bourbon, we're assuming.
Mm-hmm.
But that's 70% of that and 21% of a 20-year-old Canadian rye. How much would you pay for a 20-year-old Canadian rye that you're using 20% of?
I mean, it's going to be more expensive, but no. I mean, the bottle's nice. It's expensive. All the marketing dollars go into it.
Yeah. Put it in a mason jar. Save yourself $50. Fuck it.
Well, I think he should just pull up a fucking tanker truck and let people fill their own jugs.
Well, there you go. Now that would be something to see out in front of the amphitheater, wherever the hell he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the arena. There's a tanker truck outside sitting full of whiskey.
Well, there you go.
Dump it right in your jug. There you go. Return to the days of yore.
That's right. The rectified series.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah. And before people start lighting us up, yeah, I know that's not legal. There's too many I get it. I get it. But the point is that $200, no bueno, no good. You price this one at $100 or under, and I could get behind it a little bit more. So I gave it a very unique rating. You know, we use bottle, bar, bus. So I had to split the difference on this one. And I said, based on the product, it's a bottle. Based on the cost, try it at a bar. And that's the unfortunate reality of it. But I will tell you this, I'm going to try to get my hands on a bottle. And if I'm fortunate to get a full bottle, people in our community will be given the opportunity to chip in and get a sample, and we'll do a live tasting and all experience it together in a cost-effective manner. I think that'd be really cool. So if anybody spots a bottle and wants to split the cost, let us know. We can make that happen, and we'll see where it goes. But if you get a chance to try it at a bar, definitely dig it. Let us know what you think, because it is a promising step in the right direction. We just got to get the cost down to something that everybody can afford.
Have to compare it against all the other celebrity country music people out there now.
Well, it's
Alan
definitely
Jackson,
the best tasting.
Brad Paisley and whoever the fuck else.
Yeah, best tasting. All right, well, that was like a sidestep around some bourbon bullshit. What do you say we just jump right in? You got your waiters?
Yeah, got them on.
All right, let's do some bourbon bullshit. Bob, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do we really need another Weller bourbon?
No, would they stop with this shit already? How many extensions are there now?
6,375.
Yeah. And you just fucking give us more of the fucking 107 or the full proof, and just fucking knock it off. Stop it, goddammit.
So if you've been under a rock and haven't heard about it, Buffalo Trace announced the release of the Daniel Weller experimental line, which is inspired by Daniel and his pioneering spirit. So first of all, this thing starts off, I'm like, who the fuck is Daniel, right? So apparently, Daniel is, actually, I just got to read the press release here. I mean, fuck it. I don't really care who Daniel was, because he's not the one who made the bourbon. He's ancestor of the Weller family. And they've dug deep, because they're quoting things about grains from 6,000 years ago, blah, 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 blah. This is distilled in the E.H. Taylor micro still. If you've been there, you've seen that. And Harlan Wheatley spent 2 years custom designing that still and creating this product. This is aged for 12 years, bottled at 94 proof. And what's unique about it, other than the price, which we're going to get here, and the design of the bottle, is this uses emmer wheat. And that's the ancient Egyptian grain that's rarely seen in modern day stills. I wonder why that is. But they're using that grain in this, and they're going to be releasing a different version of Daniel Weller using different grains every year. But this one, their first one available, is going to be rolling out in limited quantities to the distributor network in June, so right now. And it's got a suggested retail price of $499.
So it's also the most expensive Weller they've released.
That's right. You can try to find regular 12-year-old Weller, or you can try to find this one and pay even more.
You know, when I see something Buffalo Trace announces, that's just, I still don't fucking care anymore.
But let's just cut to the quick one here, because we could beat this dead horse for hours. But I think, once again, I want to make it very clear to people. How do people find it acceptable that a company who can't even put enough of their regular products on the shelf, that we're okay with them doing this, right? It's their business. They can make money however they want. That's fine. Don't tell me it's business and whatnot. But the reality is that this is a company who, for whatever reason, is not putting enough of the regular Weller products out there. Okay. And instead, they're holding back product and releasing shit like this, which is nothing more than a blatant money grab. And once again, they have the right to do this. But how do the normal drinkers support this, right? If the whole idea is if you don't like an action, you're supposed to do something to fight the action. Nobody cares. That's the thing, is they just keep doing this, keep pummeling people and charging them exorbitant prices and make people stand in lines. And then everybody's supposed to be okay with it. And this is why every year my respect for their business practices drops more and more. They make great products, love their products, but I no longer will put the time and the effort in trying to find them. I don't like the games at the artificial allocation and real allocation issues. And I definitely have an issue with this overpriced stuff, because why does this need to be this is only priced that high because they know there are fools that will come in and buy it. It's not because it required super special expertise and high level cost. It just doesn't. So I'll get off that soapbox, but man, it is getting tough to see these, as you say.
I could give a shit less about what they're doing over there. I don't fucking care. They make one bottle that I would love to find. Well, couple, but I'm never going to see them, so I don't even fucking bother with it.
What would that be?
Oh, the Barrel Proof E.H. Taylor.
Okay, all right.
And then the regular William LaRue Weller and the Big Daddy Stag. Aside from that, they can have everything else.
Yeah, well,
I don't give a shit.
Good luck with your quest, man. No. Good luck with your
quest.
I
don't have a quest anymore. Yeah. No, I gave up on it years ago. I don't even fucking bother. You know what I'm going to do? I'll go over and grab my bottle of Wild Turkey or Four Roses or whatever million different versions of
and that's
MGP
what I'm saying.
Barrel
That's
Proof.
what I'm saying.
And I'll be
elsewhere,
fine.
folks.
I'll be happy.
Let's go elsewhere. Maybe they'll get a message, right? Well, I'm going to bring up another topic that I know is a favorite of yours as we continue this wading through the bullshit. It's just getting higher and higher, and my ankles are getting warm walking through this, you know. Smell it. Smell it.
Jesus.
Right?
I see what's coming.
So I'm going to tell you, Bob, we're going to make a T-shirt, and the T-shirt's going to say, raise your hand if you didn't win an Ascot Award. Because I really want to know
that shirt.
What brands did not win one. So I've railed, you've railed, we've all talked about how we don't like these spirits competitions. But the Ascot Awards this year, their press release they went out. So this is all information they've put out there, and I'm just connecting the dots here. Spirits competition, they received a whopping, their words, 1,100 entries this year. Okay? And I looked at what the entry fee, which is like $425, $450, something like that. That's a lot of money for an entry. Plus, you got to submit the booze, right? Do the math. That's a mind-boggling $522,500 in entry fee revenue. Okay, and that's if we're only counting spirit entries. They also take marketing material entries. Okay, now I went to their website where they publish all the winners. Okay. And I counted how many medals they gave out. Now, once again, they give out gold, platinum, or double platinum because they thought it was good to move the gold yarn. So there's no silvers, right? They just moved everything up to sound more prestigious, right? According to the total number of entries and the total number of people listed on the website with medals, 73% of the entries got a gold, platinum, or double platinum award. Okay. They don't share how many people got what they call an honorable mention, but I can only suspect that it's 27% to come to 100% total. And so I just continue to go to the question of how can you call it a competition when everybody gets a medal?
I'm quiet because what the hell do you say? Jesus Christ, who fucking cares?
Well, you know,
Jesus apparently these spirit companies.
Well, it's huge for brands. I mean, if you win one, and I get the role that it plays, the brand says, "Oh, we won this award," but once again, it's, you know, don't hate the players, hate the game.
But look who else won the fucking award.
Oh yeah,
Deep Eddy Grapefruit Vodka wins double platinum or some shit like that. I remember seeing it last year.
Well, that's my point, right? If everybody wins an award, is there any value to the award?
Well, you know, we hadn't announced it yet, but this podcast, the Bourbon and Banter podcast, we were forced to come. We came back. We've been holding off because we had been awarded the Quadruple Platinum Podcast Award from the Intergalactic Society of Podcasters. That's not only here, that's Mars, Venus, it's all over the globe. So you're listening to the greatest podcast in the known universe.
Well, I call that the Pan-Galactic Awards.
Well, no, we can't call it that because my buddy's got that name trademark, Pan-Galactic Company.
Oh, well.
But Paul would give us an award if he wanted to. Yeah, so thanks, Paul.
There you go.
Pan-Galactic Company, favorite bourbon podcast.
I'm just waiting for when the Ascot announces that they're going to add a new category, the titanium category. Or they're going to announce
the mixed and mingled at home award.
Right.
You know, the best 1 liter barrel blend.
Well, I believe they're going to have an infinity barrel category next year.
Oh, good Lord.
So that'll be fun one to look at. But hey, once again, I'll say it right. I hate the competitions. I hate the fact that everybody wins. But I tell you what, man, talking about business, Fred, man, $522,000 in revenue. I know he's got to pay workers to organize and do things. He's got to pay the people doing the tastings and whatnot. So there's money going out against that, but
having all the ascots dry cleaned.
Knowing I know what it costs to run a business, and I know his expenses against that revenue. That's a lot of serious money staying in house, brother. And if you actually want the trophy, you got to pay for that. So you get the award, and then if you want the hardware, well, I like all awards competitions, you got to pay for that shit. You get the piece of paper. That's free. So I'm going to start mailing out random awards to people and see what happens. Kind of like the guy who we were talking about last night on our Bourbon and Banter community group therapy session.
Started sending invoices to random companies.
Right, just start sending invoices to random companies, and you're surprised how many companies actually pay, and they have no idea what you're paying for. So maybe that's an idea. We can work on that for the next podcast. Just send out awards to people and see what they say. But speaking of Galactic Enterprises, Bob, there's been an update regarding the Mystic Galactic Bourbon. We talked about on the podcast an episode or two ago. And to bring everybody up to speed, this is the Mystic Farm and Distillery Company. They announced the launch of Mystic Galactic, and they call it the rarest spirit ever produced. It's a bourbon whiskey aged for 1 year in space. Now, they originally said they were going to send 5 barrels up, and they were pre-selling these bottles for $75,000 a piece. Now, the pre-sale has begun. No insight on how many people bought in yet.
Bottles, not barrels.
No, 75 grand per bottle.
$75,000 a piece.
A piece. That's right. But the good news is when you buy it, you also get a 50 milliliter taster to go with that.
Oh, how about that? Your little 50 milliliter fucking taster.
That's right. So apparently they've taken the first major step towards making this actually reality, because they've selected their orbiting vendor, which is 2 words I never thought I'd string together as well. TEC will be the orbiter that the Mystic Farm and Distillery partners will use to age its outer space bourbon. I'm going to read this quote here. All right. So while there are several companies in the sector who were willing to provide us with launch services, we're excited to announce that we're beginning the contracting process with TEC, whose Nynx orbiter has the ideal payload capacity for a mission. We were impressed with their ability to accommodate 10, so they've gone from 5 to 10 full-size 53-gallon barrels, and they're willing to provide us with exclusive use of their orbiter for the full year we will require for the aging process. So 10 barrels.
So is this going in as new make, and then it's only going to be aged a year?
No, I think it's going to be aged for a couple of years on the ground and then sent up for a year of additional gravity-free, non-impact bearing aging. And then when it crash lands and anything survives, they're going to bottle it.
TEC, the yogurt people?
No, but I had to look it up, and TEC has no involvement with.
That's TCBY.
Has no involvement with deep sea diving rigs. So I think they might be better off on this one. But you never know. But it's only barrels going up, so a risky venture nonetheless. But hey, $75,000. I'm sure they're not sold out yet. So if you want to get in on that, there's an opportunity to do that.
Oh, kiss my ass.
I'll tell you what, if that shit doesn't win the first Ascot Titanium Award, I don't know who will.
I don't know who will. I just, what's going to happen, it's going to come back and none of the whiskey's going to make it. And then these people are going to be stuck with these deposits on $75,000 bottles from whatever assholes paid this kind of money for it, who probably wouldn't miss it because they probably find it in the back of their couch. And then you're going to have...
what's going to happen? It's going to be like that movie Capricorn 1, right? Where they faked the moon landing because the crew blew up and then the crew wasn't dead. So the bourbon's never going to go up, and they're just going to repackage a whole bunch of wild turkey. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh, kiss my ass.
This is the greatest podcast in the world because, we don't have to make this shit up. People just do it for us.
No, they do it for us. That's right. All we're doing is reporting the news, folks.
That's right. And there is a lot of bullshit out there. So keep those waiters on. I think that might be our next swag item is Bourbon and Banter waiters. You know,
bullshit waiters.
If you like the idea, let us know. And folks, as always, if you've got feedback, whether you like the podcast or you hated the podcast, send us an email, podcast@bourbonbanter.com. We promise to read all of them. We only delete the ones that complain. But we appreciate the feedback nonetheless. And Bob has a good laugh on your expense if you say that you don't like us, because as you've heard, Bob really doesn't give a shit.
That's correct.
That's right. And bonus points.
No fucks left to give.
Bonus points if you're South African. I believe as Bob showed us last night on the group hangout, just how many fucks he is not giving to anything anywhere. So
that's right, folks.
Right. Well, folks, we appreciate you hanging out and being patient as we spin this bourbon machine back up. We've really missed getting together and talking bourbon bullshit and news and things of that nature. So definitely send us your feedback. This is our 32nd episode. If you can believe that shit, Bob. You know, I mean, I know we only do it monthly, but it's adding up, and we appreciate everyone's attention. And
it is the Magic Johnson episode.
That's right, the Magic Johnson episode. I'm going to go get my test tomorrow. Make sure I'm clean.
Oh, God damn it, man. Would you? Jesus Christ.
Well, he slept with 10,000 women. What do you expect? Come on.
The guy was my childhood hero.
Yeah, well,
it killed me when all that happened.
Yeah.
But when he bought the Los Angeles Dodgers, I knew shit was going to go okay.
Yeah, same. All comes back to the Dodgers. See how Bob does that, folks?
There you go.
How he does that? That's right. Well, guys, please let people know about the podcast this weekend as you're sipping that bourbon, eating some barbecue for the 4th of July. Get some people to listen to it. Visit the new website at bourbonbanter.com. Sign up, register. We'll get you in the Facebook group. And who knows, maybe you'll get to join us for the next Bourbon and Banter group therapy session where, quite frankly, there are no rules, and everyone gets embarrassed at least once. So we hope you'll join us for that. But thanks again for listening. And on behalf of everyone at Bourbon and Banter, even Bob, thanks again. And remember, if you're going to drink,
drink curious.
Well, what's your preference?
Bourbon, if you got it.
Bourbon from Kentucky.
I should certainly fucking hope so.